Greetings, everyone. Welcome to my another YouTube series on Discord bot. And in today's video, we're going to create a ticketing system. So in demo purposes, I will show you now how the tickets are created. So I'm going to say create ticket, and then I'm going to specify the channel where I want to create the tickets. So it's going to be general, and the message on the embeds. So I'm going to say React below to start new channel with admin. Right, and let's go ahead and do that. And you can see we have nice little embeds with the welcome message on top with the server name and the server icons and the React, the message that we just did, and with the reaction to it. So I don't have any user at the moment in this server, so I'll be testing it. So I'll go ahead and react to this message as an user. And what happened is that this ticket will be creating a channel between a user and an admin. So we will look into this in the future, that what role could be passed in that are available. But for these examples, I'm just using an admin role here. So if we take a look here, you can see I have an admin role, and also I've been created a new role, which is with my name. This is something like a temporary role. And once we finish once we finish dealing with that user sort of stuff, so the only admin can delete the channel and the entire communication. So what we'll do is close ticket, and then we're gonna specify that new role that we have created with that user. So the username and the user role has the same name. So you have to be a little careful that you don't tag a user, but rather that role, which will enable the bot to close this ticket. So as you can see, there's a role, and if I do that, it should close. So that's what we're going to code. Now for the prerequisite sections, you want to go down to my GitHub repository, and you want to clone or download as usual, for like you did for the other tutorials. And if you're somebody completely new and you just came across this tutorial and you think it's a little bit hard to get into, then I do recommend you watching the part 1, where I actually break down how to create right from the scratch all the file settings and how to get started overall with the bot. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and go to code here, and if you have Git installed, then go ahead and clone, and if you don't, then what you can do, just click on download zip file, and it should start downloading, and I will wait till it finishes. Once you have successfully downloaded the file, you probably should do extract the files to your allocated or designated locations, and then go ahead and open the PyCharm. So I have my PyCharm opened, and I'm going to click on open right here, and I'm going to direct to my locations. So it'll be desktop, and right here in desktop there should be a folder. I'm going to go ahead and select the folder and click OK, and that should open my IDE. So it's starting to load. Once it's successfully setting up the entire file structure, it probably most likely to give you this pop-up to say that you want to install the new environment, because there are some files to be installed. And you can see it has already automatically allocated the requirements.txt files, where all the Python's libraries and packages that we have used throughout the project are available to install. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK here, and that should start installing. And once you have successfully installed those packages from requirements.txt files, you will probably prompted with that it has been successfully configured. Now, just in case, and if you don't get that message, pop-up message, then how could you set up your virtual environment? Now, the reason because I emphasize on doing that, my package would be time to time updated and the code might conflict with the deprecations of versions for different packages. So you probably want to avoid that doing so. Hence, I recommend you to follow along. Now, in the case of using different IDE or text editors, you should be fine. All you have to do is set up and virtual environment, and all the links will be down below descriptions where you can see how to set up virtual environment using some packages or the built-in Python pip managers or anything like that. So all information will be down below. So for this specific IDE, you want to go to the file, then go to settings. And from here, you want to select your project and then project interpreter. Now, if you have everything like this, then you're probably sorted. But if not, then you can click this toggles right here and select the add button right there. And what you should do, it should give you a new window to set up your virtual environment. So go ahead and do that and select and press OK and whatnot, and you should be fine. And once you have that, all you can do is go to my the repository itself, and if you scroll down, and you can see the installation instructions, which is like pip install -r requirements.txt, and you can run that. But before that, you have to activate your Vim virtual environment. So I will leave the link down below where you can check out how to do that for different operating systems, whether you're using Windows, Mac, or Linux. Now I'll walk you through some of the setting up the files and the environment, the env tokens and whatnot. So you probably want to open up the .env file and get your token for the bot. So I will head over to the discord.com/developer/applications and go down to the bot. If you want to scroll down and ensure that presence intents and server member intents are turned on, and then what you can do is copy this and go back here, and you probably want to remove this and paste your token there and then save. Also ensure that you give the bot admin privileges. So the things that we are performing, creating channels, deleting channels, and mentioning user and whatnot, you would come across that bunch of errors that when you don't do that, like a specific permissions. The easy way to get through this is just give it administrator permission, until you know what permission exactly to give it to the bot. In that case, you should be fine too. Next, you want to go to the main.py file, and you want to scroll down all the way where you see error handles, and what you want to do is the uncomment this line. So if there's any error, you can actually get to see them sent to your Discord, and your debugging overall for the code becomes a lot more easier. So now you can go ahead and hit save. And followed by that, we're going to create two new files. So we're going to go to commands right here, and we're going to create a new command. So I'm going to right click on the command, go to new, and I'm going to select the Python file, and I'm going to name my Python file ticket and push enter. So first thing first, I'm going to import some of the libraries. Now do note that by the time you download the latest file from my GitHub repository, you are most likely to have the updated file, which includes today's tutorial. So in that case, you can just walk through, and if you want some clarification, you can go through this tutorial, and I'm hoping that this will help you through and do whatever modification you would like. So I'll go ahead and import some of the packages that I'm going to need. So import JSON and then import Discord, and then I'm gonna from random, I'm gonna import rendit, and then finally from discord.ext extension import commands. That's perfect. So now I'll go ahead and create a class. So class ticket, and that will take commands dot cog, and now our constructor, so init method, so init, and these with the self, we're gonna take the bot object. I'm gonna call that here self dot bot equals to bot, and now we're gonna define our setup, which will take bot, and I'm gonna say bot dot add underscore cog, and I'm gonna call the ticket class here and pass in the bot, and that should do for the setup. There's a spelling mistake, I believe, so it's RANDINT, right, and that should do. And I'm going to quickly go ahead and format the code, so that should be fine. So go ahead and hit save right here, and now you want to go to the databases folder real quick and right click here, and we're going to create a new file. So I'm going to call this ticket.json, where we will be storing all the ticket information that we need to interact. So I'm going to open 2 new braces and going to press enter and hit save. And that should be fine for this. So the first logic, business logic or requirements that we need to fill in order to complete our ticketing system is to create the tickets itself first. So where your user will interact or react to that message, where they will be directed with the new channel or whatnot, sort of information. But for that, we have to give them sort of a new message where they can read information and sort of open a new ticket if they want to. So we're going to create one. So to do that, I'm going to say add commands. Add commands dot commands. Yeah. And now we also want to ensure that this command is getting executed by the administrator, so nobody else able to create a new ticket. To do that, I'm going to say commands dot and then has permissions. So and has permissions, and I'm going to pass in that administration. So admin ISTRATOR TRATOR equals to true, and that should do it. And next thing is that we're gonna implement our async function. So sync dev create ticket, that's the command name, and which is going to take CTX context. And now with this create ticket, we want to take more than one argument, or sort of like we're going to pass in the command itself and the channel that where we want to see it, and then the message. So message will have a spaces and it will be treated as individuals arguments. So to do that, in Python we have something called args and quirks, so key arguments, and if you push asterisk just before that, it allows Python to know that you're going to accept more than 4, 5, 6 arguments, right? So I'm going to put that here and args here, and let's go down and let's see what we receive, and then we will decide what to do. So formula args equals to, and I'm going to turn that entire thing into list so I'll be able to iterate through, or if I want to split them, it'll be easy for me. So I'm going to put the args here. And now if I print the format args right here, then we'll be able to see what we're getting. So I'll go ahead and hit save. And I'm going to go right click on my main.py and select run. So our bot is online. Let's go to our Discord. At this point, you can open your Discord application from your local desktop. And I'm using the web version at the moment. So I'll go ahead and type in create ticket. And the next argument I want to pass in is the channel. So for that, hashtag, and then general. So the channel that I'm using is general. And then the message itself to display on the embeds for users. So I'm going to say this is a ticket test. And then let's press enter. And let's go down to our PyCharm again. And here you can see we have an array object of the first index being the channel ID itself, and then our entire message right over here. So now we're going to format this, and we're probably going to split that and get the information that we want to. So I'm going to remove the print statement. And go down a little bit. The first information that we're going to need is guild ID is equal to ctx.message dot guild dot ID. So that will get us that. The next one we're going to need is the channel ID. So channel ID is equal to, and now you remember that the first index holds our channel ID, and it has the hashtag and the arrow keys. So we need to clean that string, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to say format args, and then the first index right here. And I'm going to use Python strip method right here. And I'm going to strip the first arrow and then the next one. And I'm going to replace the hash with the empty string. Perfect. And that will get us the channel ID. But if you recall in the documentation of the Discord.py, the channel ID needs to be integer. Right at the moment, if we do type hinting and print this out, then they're likely to be, this is in string. So you can see this is in string. So we have to turn this into an integer object. So I'm going to do that. And then now we're gonna, next thing is take that title. So basically this is gonna be our title of the embeds that we're gonna present to our user. So I'm gonna say title equals to an empty space here. I'm gonna use the join, and within the join I'm gonna pass in the format args, and I'm gonna slice it. So after the first index, whatever it is, get those strings and join them out. That's it. So 1 and then semicolon there. And that will do everything that we want. So now if we want to go ahead and test this, I'm going to do print. And let's duplicate 3 times. And I'm going to bring guild ID just to see that we are in the right track, and the title, and go ahead and hit save, run, and let's wait for the bot to come online. And back to our browser, I'm just going to copy this again and gonna rewrite it and push enter back to here. So now you can see it's nice and clean. So we have our guild ID, channel ID, and the message itself. So they're neat and clean and tidy and ready to go. So now the next logic that we're going to implement is to store them in a files where we can access them later when somebody reacts to it, the message. And the way we want to do this, that a server, so this server can have more than one channel. So I'm going to go ahead and create a few channels right here. And there are 2 channels, so it can have more than one channel. So we need to store these variables in an array object or JSON object that we're able to access them and store them, so that every server can store more than one tickets, right? So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these. And first thing first is with open. And we're going to open the file. So I believe for Windows it's going to be / excuse me, and it's going to be databases, and then within the databases it's going to be ticket.json, and it's going to be read mode as file. Read that as file. I see I have missed one / sorry about the typo, I'm having a bad day. So next thing we want to do is load that file and get the object. So let's do that. Ticket data is equal to json.load, and we're going to pass in our files here. Next thing is to create a new ticket object. So a new ticket is equal to, and I'm going to take the string of the guild ID. So guild ID. Remember, guild ID is currently in integer format, and we want to store that as a string. So just for that specific part, and I'm going to push down here, and I'm going to simply do write a comment here and say I'm going to first update the existing ticket. So if there are any if their server is registered and there are like literally it's accepting tickets, so then we want to store those information to the existing one. If that's a new server, then we want to open a new object for that server, right? So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say if new ticket in ticket data, and if I go down, and I'm going to say ticket data, and I'm going to pass in the new ticket object in there, plus equal to, and it's going to be the channel ID. So all the channel ID will be assigned to that server, right? Rather than creating a new server with the ID and then storing it. Okay, we will see that in actions in a minute. So let me close this bit down. So as we're going down, and we're going to say with open. And again, I'm just going to quickly go ahead and copy this bit, just to save some time. And this one's going to change it to write mode because we're going to insert or append our data. So as update ticket data, and we're going to say json.dump, and within there we're going to pass in the ticket data and the the update ticket data, and I'm going to indent that to 4. Perfect. And yep, that should do it. And in the case of, so else, so let me just quickly comment this part as well. So we're going to take add new ticket, and we're going to say ticket data, and we're going to pass in the new ticket, and we're just going to assign the channel ID. So we're not going to append every time or add more, but it's because it's a new, we're going to assign the first one. So we're going to say channel ID, I'm going to say with open, and let me just quickly copy this one out and paste it here, and I'm going to say as new ticket data. I'm going to say json.dump. I'm going to pass in the ticket data, then the new ticket data, and then indent it. Equals to 4. Perfect. So now we can go ahead and test this, that this is what is happening, and then we can go ahead and create an embed and send that nice little message to our Discord server. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's hit save and make sure they're read and they're write and they're right, so everything is fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the file, and let's wait bot to come online. And our bot has come online, so going back there, I'm just going to copy again this line and paste it here, and let's go back, and there seems to be no issues. So if I open the ticket.json file, you can see this is our guild ID, and within the guild ID this is our first channel that we have captured. Right, so if I go back here and do same for, let's say, test channel, and I push enter here and I go back, and you can see immediately there has been another channel ID appended below the previous one. And I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to close this one down and move on to our next section. And now let us send the fun little looking message to our Discord. So I'm gonna go ahead and push enter here and come out, and gonna say create new embed with reaction. Right, I'm gonna add a reaction to that so the user can use it. So I'm gonna push enter. I'm gonna say ticket embed equals to discord dot embed. That's right. I'm gonna pass in some color to it. I'm gonna say rendered, yes, and it's gonna be from 0 to 0x, and then f, and a bunch of f, so 4, 5, 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should do that, and add 2 more, so 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So it's just that hexadecimal values for colors from 0 to that, and it's gonna bring in the random colors and add that to our embeds. So anyway, and I'm gonna say ticket underscore embed dot set thumbnail. So we're gonna set a thumbnail as in the image of our server, so the server icon that I'm referring here. So I'm gonna say URL equals, I'm gonna say f string literals, say https /cdn dot discord app.com slash icons slash, then I'm going to pass in the guild ID, and then slash, and then the name. Then the icon itself. There is ctx dot message dot guild dot icon, and then pass in dot png, the format, and that should be good. Yep, and no error for that. So if I go down, and I'm going to add a field, so ticket embed dot add field, and then the name of the field is going to be f-string literals again. I'm going to say welcome to, then I'm going to pass in the ctx dot message dot guild, so the server name itself, and then put in server there, and I'm going to pass in the value is equal to, and then string literals, and basically take the title from here to there. So that's it. So the message that we're going to type in the command, it will be shown there, but feel free to modify however you like it. I just, for example, I just put it there. And now let's send it. So I'm going to say send ticket embed equals to await self.bot.get channel, and within there I'm going to pass in the channel ID dot send, and then embed is equal to ticket embed. Perfect. Right, and next thing we're gonna do is basically add a reaction. So await send ticket embed dot add reaction, and I'm gonna pass in a emojis the Unicode. So if you go to Google and search for emoji Unicodes, they will probably come, and you take the last 4 digit and add that after like 4 zeros. So I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. U and string backslash, and then capital U, and then 4 zeros, 3 zeros, 1 2 3, and then 1 capital F, and then 3 A B. So that's the one I want to use, but go ahead, and if when you search that, you just have to replace the last 3 digit. I believe most of them comes with 1F, but if in case it changes from here, then you probably replace up to this stays, it's fine. So that should be good. So let's go ahead and test the code. So I'm going to save all, hit run. Let's go back here, copy this, paste it here, and let's see. Okay, we got error. So command rotate to bed request invalid body format embed.color in value less than this. Okay, cool. Let's have a look. So color is equal to rend int. I believe I put too many zeros. Okay, that's supposed to be 6. Sorry, I'm just trying to count here. Right, let's go ahead, save silly mistakes, never mind. Let's go ahead, play again, and our bot is online. So I'm gonna go back here, copy this again, hit there, and we can see the embeds. So this is the message. You can see this is ticket test, and you can see it appeared here, and the embeds, and then this. So now the part of storing and sort of like allocating the channels and getting the embeds visibly for the user has completed. So we can tick that part of our business logic. And the next part, what we're going to do is now allow user to react. And after reaction, we want a bunch of things done. So let's dive into that. Let us go ahead and implement the listeners. So, and the on row reaction add. So I will show the documentation in a minute, and all those invocation for all the objects of a class or methods. It's all sort of stated in the documentation, so you can go through each of them and understand each of the elements and what they do. So let's do commands .cog listener, and let's do async define on row reaction add, which will take the self, and the next thing it will take is a payload. And if we come down here, and the first thing we're going to check that the payload, the person who's sending the payload, it's not a bot. So to do that, payload member id is not equal to self.bot user id. So this will ensure that a bot is not a reaction user. So whoever is reacting to that message. So I'm going to go ahead and push enter here, and I'm going to iterate through, not really iterate through, just load the file that we have to get the channel ID, sort of break down those information. So let's go ahead and do that with open. And I'm gonna say, gonna read that. So let's just copy this up to there. Copy, paste. Now let's go down. Ticket data is equal to JSON.load, and then file. Right, and that should be it. And yeah, let's get their keys and values. So channel ID is equal to, and I'm going to turn that into a list. I'm going to say ticket data dot values. Right, get their values, and then I'm going to say the channel ID the user is reacting from. So I just want to ensure that this is the user that is reacting to this channel, so sort of stuff. And let's do the user channel ID is equal to payload dot channel ID. Perfect. And now I'm going to iterate through and check that. So for items in channel ID, if user channel ID is present in items, then the first thing first, get guild object or guild itself, and then all the roles related to that. Then get me, then I'll basically will create new role, and then I'm just just to keep things easy for me, I'm just commenting ahead all my requirements. So I'll build the logic up based on that, and then assign new role, and I guess I'll overwrite override the role permissions. So I want specific people to be in that channel that you've seen in the demo. So permissions. And finally, I guess create new channel. Create new channel for both of the admins and whoever is responsible to interact with the users, their roles, and the role itself that we're creating for a user. So that's the end goal here. And obviously send a message to ping them, both of them, acknowledging the fact that they're in the channel, and they will be, both parties will be communicating very soon. So that sort of stuff. But feel free to modify what you feel like it. So I'm just going to do the first one. So let's start from here. So I'm going to say find guild is equal to discord.utils. So I'm going to use their utils. Then find. I'm going to use the lambda function right here to iterate it. The complexity should go up a little bit. So I'm saying guild in guild ID equals to payload not guild underscore ID and self dot bot dot guilds. So everything that in there, just iterate through. Right. Hopefully it's okay. Oh, missing B there. And guild in guild ID equals to payload guild IDs and then self dot. Yeah, that should be fine. So now it's all good. So additional space there. And let's get the guild roles now from the guild object itself. So guild role is equal to discord.util. Make spelling mistake again. Do it. Yep, utils.get. Let's use the get object. And I'm gonna say find guild.roles, comma, and the what role we're looking for. So basically, then we as you probably remember the demo where we actually created a role with the name of the person. So we're gonna have to check that if that is present already. If it's present, then obviously we're not gonna go ahead. Otherwise, people will keep on spamming or trying to break the bot itself. So let's go ahead and do the check. And I'm gonna say payload dot member dot name. So that's the check is gonna happen. And now, before creating so basically right now the name will be not found, right? So the Python will give you the standard error is a none, right? Nothing is found. So that is fine. So that's what we're going to check for. So guild roles. So it should be roles actually, because there are many roles. So guild roles is none. So if that's the case, then go ahead and create new role. Otherwise, don't do it, because we don't want to unnecessarily create that. Right, so if guild roles is none, then go ahead and do that. So I'm going to set the permissions first. Permissions are equal to discord dot permissions. Yep. And we're going to set the send message to true and read message, so user able to send and read, right? So send message just equals to true and read messages equals to true. And that should be fine. And let's go ahead and await and create the role. So await find guild dot create role, and I'm gonna pass in the name of the role. So it's gonna be f-stringlet rules again. So payload dot member dot name, and the permissions gonna be equal to permissions. Perfect. So that will create a new role, and now the next logic that we want to do is assign the role to that user, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Let me just push this down a little bit. Right. So new, what should I call it? New user role. User role equals to discord.utils, and I'm gonna get the role, and then I'm gonna say find guild.role. So now we're gonna do again check to see the roles that we have created with the name should be present, right? Because that role we're gonna assign it. Before we checked if that role is actually exist. If it's not, then we're gonna go ahead and create. So that's simple. So let's go ahead and finish that off. And that's pretty much actually saying here. So I'm just gonna save some time. Right, and let's await and do that. So await payload. Wait, payload.member.add roles. So we're going to add the roles here, and we're going to pass in the name equals to f-stringlet roles, and the next thing we're going to pass in the permissions. Oh, hang on, this is add roles, right? So I think add roles parameters would be the role itself. So the role itself, my bad guys, so just role itself, and I think it takes two additional parameters, so I'm just going to pass them in. So reason, it's anyway declared in the documentation, so you'll be able to see. So none and atomic equals to true. Perfect. So that should create. So I think we have coded a lot till this point, so probably want to kind of test, see if there's any bug in the code before we go ahead and do the override role permissions and create new channels, and sort of see if we can assign a role to ourselves right after we react to that message. So let's go ahead and save that, and if there's any bug we'll fix that too. So we are up, and so this message is stored, so we can actually go and test this one out. So if I react, and if I see, okay, I did not get any roles. Right. Let's take a look. Okay, so there is an error. So the new user role equals to find blah blah blah. Guild object has no attribute role. Right. So let's take a look. Why is that the case? So get it. Oh, okay. So find dot roles here, as should be. Let's see if I made a mistake anywhere else. So that's a typo there, guys. Let's stop this. Let's hit run. The bot is online. Let's go ahead and react again, and hopefully we get a role. No. Okay. What's the error now? Okay. Wait. Right. Reason equals okay. ID has no attributes. ID add roles. What is wrong with that? It's a silly mistake right here, guys. So it should have been the, I think it should have been the string itself. So let's do that. And I'm gonna copy this. go here, replace it here too. So hopefully that should fix our issues. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit save, clear this out. And our bot is online. Let's give it a try. So I'm gonna react. And there you go. So it created a new role with my name here. So yeah, so that seems to work. So now let's go ahead and finish off the remainings. So I'm going to push enter here. And before that, override, I'm going to just take a new role. So I'm going to call this admin role equals to Discord utils discord dot utils dot get, and gonna say find guild dot and then roles, just ensuring no error, silly mistakes on typos. Name is equal to, and I'm gonna create a admin's role in here. Now, if you are doing, let's say you're covering more than one server, you probably want to have a facility where you are able to take this role as an input and store in your JSON object. So with that, so I will leave this to you because I wanted to keep this again in simple, for beginners especially, those who are just getting started, and it could overcomplicate things here. But if you definitely want to experiment, you just don't want to get stuck in tutorial hell, you want to improve this code, implement some more business logic to it to make and accommodate your end users that you're trying to put this bot in place. And yeah, go ahead and try those. I'm just gonna go ahead and simply create an admin role in my Discord too, and I'm gonna assign to myself that role, so you can go ahead and do that if you're following along. So make sure you have that, otherwise it will send an error. So, and now we can do the override. Override is equal to, I'm gonna pass in an object, and it's gonna say find guild dot default role. So all the default role. So basically the meaning of doing the override, that others don't get to see those messages that you're having one-to-one with the admin. So in this case, the user who has raised the tickets, he only wants to communicate with the admins, not the rest of the server, right? So we want to ensure that happens. So discord.permission override, and I'm gonna say read message equals to false. So it's gonna override within the channel to false. So it's going to turn it off, so the rest of the people can't engage with that. So that goes for this, and then basically for the usual role that we created, the new role will be set to true, and the admin role gets to true. So it's simple as that. So I'm going to say new user role, oops, and then colon, and then say discord dot permissions override. Nope, I want the capital permission override. And then again, I'm going to set that to read message. So I'm just going to get that, copy and paste it, and set that to true. And ensure there's a comma. And that goes for the next one, which is, I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, and here I'm going to say admin role, and that will be set to true. Perfect. And all we have to do now, pass into this to our channel. So when we are creating this channel, once the channel will be created, this permission will be overwritten there. basically, because we have the concept in Discord where if you have the general permission set, then you can override them in the channel. So, and let's do the create new channel. So I'm just gonna do that, go down and say create channel equals to await dot find guild dot create text channel, and then open the parentheses, and I'm gonna pass in like a name of the channel. So I'm gonna give some little bit emoji sort of stuff, just to make it look a little bit you know, something to present, and obviously with the permission. So I'm gonna pass in the string here, which I'll come in a minute. So, and then I'm going to do override equals to override. Perfect. And this is going to be again Unicode. So U and then dash U 1 2 3 zeros F1, and I think the one I used is for CV. So for CV, like this is the Unicode for a clipboard emoji. So yeah, feel free to, oh okay, that should be full stop there. So yeah, await, find, create, blah blah blah, should be fine. And finally send that. So and send a message within the new created server, right, to to inform both parties that they have been successfully created a channel and they are ready to communicate. Create channel dot send, and over here I'm going to pass in the f string literals. I'm going to say new user role dot mention. So I'm going to mention them. I'm going to say your ticket has been created. Please wait for, and I think I'm going to give a gap here. I'm going to take another string just to keep things nice. I'm going to say admin role dot mention. I'm going to mention that to response. Feel free to put whatever text you like. So yeah, that should be it. Await, create channel. Yeah, that all looks good to me, unless we have another bug. But let's go ahead and save that. And now make sure that you create an admin roles, which I'm gonna do that now. So on my Discord, I'm gonna go here, click the plus icon there, and I'm gonna scroll up and just gonna call this admin, capital A, sorry, admin, and I'm gonna save the changes, and that should be fine. You don't have to worry about anything else. Let us go ahead and hit run and wait for the bot. The bot is online, so let's go to the browser. Let's quickly react, and okay, there is no channel. Have I been assigned with the new? Okay, I've got new role, but let's take a look. So okay, there's no permission 0.format.key. Oh, okay, so I have to pass in the string, I believe, here. So I'm gonna do .format, and I believe this will be the new user role. So I made a mistake there, new user role. And yeah, let's push enter there just to make it look nice and tidy. Perfect. And what is happening? That should be fine. Yeah, let's go ahead and hit save. Restart. Okay, back to Discord. I'm also going to assign myself admin because at the moment I don't have any more user. So, and also ensure that, you know, every time you create new roles, make sure to delete them, because otherwise it will not recreate you a new role. That's the rules, right? So yeah, so let's go ahead and react. And let's see. Okay, we got another error. Again, typo, so it's messages. To apologize for that, guys. Typing fast causes trouble. So let's hit run. Right, back to the Discord. And let's react. And there you go. We have created a successfully our bot, our message, create channel. And here we can see that it has pinged me twice. So obviously for both having the both roles, but it should perfectly work for other users. So if you have any other roles, you can replace that by admin. It should perfectly work. So now to our next step, where we actually want to, once we have dealt with our businesses and we want to close this, and we don't want to have happen to being open this one for unnecessary reasons. So we want to close this and destroy the roles too. So we don't want that role too. We want to get rid of it so the user can create again if they have any issues or whatever the end user goal is that. So let's go ahead and do that. So back to our code, we're going to scroll up and below our create ticket command, we're going to create a new command. So we're going to say command commands.command. And we're also going to check that the command has the permission only available for administrators. So you don't want the user to close and open new tickets and whatnot. So commands has permissions, but feel free to set however you like. I'm just doing to demonstrate here. Equals to true. INISTRATOR. Yeah, should be fine. Just checking. And async define close ticket. Right. And close ticket will take some parameters. So the CTX context and the mentioned user. So you remember the mention role that we're going to mention the user basically by the role. So we have to capture that. So mentioned user. I'm going to bring that here. And we're probably going to have to clean that up. So mention, and I'm going to say mention role here. That user has a role. So I'm going to say mentioned user dot strip, and I'm going to clean this up. All these things, and that string comes with it. So perfect. And then now iterate through the mention role to see that role actually kind of there and get the name, and then basically get the actual role and delete the role. Basically that's the initial idea. It's pretty simple here, nothing complicated. So get mentioned role is equal to, I'm gonna write a list comprehension just to keep things a bit faster. Items dot name for items in CTX dot message dot author dot guild dot roles, and we're going to pass in a condition if f string literals say items dot id present in the mentioned role. Yeah, I'm going to take string literals, and then let's say, oops, that's an error. Mentioned role, right? So that's what's gonna check for. So if in, let's put this down so it'll be happy. And now let's call that role. So get role equals to Discord dot utils dot get, and we say ctx dot message dot author dot role. So I'm just going to copy this. And then pass in name equals to f-string literals, and then get mentioned role and the first index of that. So that should be fine. And now let's delete it. Just let me put this up. Perfect. Await get role dot delete. I'm going to pass in reason equals to, say, remove by command. Right, and we're going to say await ctx dot message dot channel dot delete, and then reason is equal to set to none. Perfect. So what's going on? Get role. Yeah, that should be fine. Yep, it's all good. So basically what it's checking is just getting the ID, ensuring that is present, and get the role, actual role, and then remove that role and pass in some of the reason that the get role dot delete object invocation takes it. So reason is equal to whatever stated in the documentation itself. So let's go ahead and test this. To me, it looks fine. So this is nothing but a comprehension, basically writing it instead of writing a large for loop, you can do this in one line. Okay, let's save this. Let's run. And the bot is online. Let's go and let's do close ticket. And we're going to mention that role. Okay, context object has no attributes message. So let's go back there and let's have a look. Silly billy mistakes. So let's MESSAG message is here also. Perfect. Hopefully all good. Let's run. The bot is online, and let's do that command again. So close ticket, and then mention the role. There you go. So the role should disappear now. So I have lost that role, and the messages has been disposed. So guys, this is it. And also I want to make sure there are a few points to be noted here. Obviously you can improve this. You can also close like channel itself. So let's say this message is no longer valid, you can actually close, like delete that and remove it from your JSON object too. And also there are some edge cases that I didn't cover here. Probably like you probably want to output something to a user when they like literally make some errors or they do something. So you probably want to check that out, and obviously raise some customs exceptions that you can handle right over here. So you can see I have handled them, all of them here. So you can do that. And if you want to see me make customs, how can I handle those customs exceptions, then let me know down below in the descriptions, and I'll create a video in the future showing you that. But this is it for this video. Thank you very much for hanging out this long, and I really appreciate your support and the the subscriptions and likes and whatever you did. I'm really humble for that. Over the past 1 month of starting back again the YouTube, and thank you very much. Without your support, it wouldn't be possible. And some of the feedbacks that I have received, it was tremendous, and it really surprised me. I never thought that I would receive such feedback, and I'm always there to help, guys. The best way to get in touch with me through my server, so the link will be down below for my Discord server, and you can always get in touch with me. I do apologize if I miss out your comments or something like that, but you can always ping me there to have some sort of give you some sort of support or whatnot. But again, thank you, stay safe, and yeah, we'll come probably soon enough. I'll drop another video. I have a few more planned, so yeah, looking forward to it. Bye.